dead of the night, when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below? Only the shadows know.
The late 1960s in Northern California, a time of peace and love, but also a time when a shadow fell over the Bay Area. This shadow had a name he gave himself, the Zodiac. This is the story of one of America's most infamous and enduring unsolved mysteries. Our story begins on a cold December night in 1968. On a secluded lover's lane in Benicia. High school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were on their first date. They parked their car, just looking for a quiet moment together. But they weren't alone. Another car pulled up, and a man emerged. Without a word, he shot David once in the head, and then fired 5 shots into Betty Lou as she tried to flee. This brutal, seemingly random attack was just the beginning. 7 months later, on the 4th of July, 1969, another young couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, were attacked in a similar fashion in a parking lot in Vallejo. Just a few miles from the first crime scene, a car pulled up, blinding them with its headlights. A man got out, walked over to their car, and opened fire. Darlene was killed. Michael, despite being shot multiple times in the face, neck, and chest, miraculously survived. And he gave police their first description of the killer, a heavy-set white male. Just minutes after the attack, the killer himself made a chilling phone call to the Vallejo Police Department. He calmly reported the crime, claiming responsibility for both this attack and the one in December. He was taunting them, enjoying the fear he was creating. But the taunting didn't stop there. Less than a month later, 3 major newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, each received a handwritten letter. The author claimed to be the killer. But these weren't just confession letters. They contained details only the killer could know, proving their authenticity. And inside each letter was a piece of a cryptic puzzle, a 3-part cipher. The killer demanded the papers publish his cipher on their front pages, threatening more violence if they refused. He signed off with a symbol that would become his terrifying trademark, a circle with a cross through it. This was the birth of the Zodiac Killer. The Bay Area was gripped by fear. Who was this man who killed for sport and then bragged about it to the press? The ciphers were a direct challenge to law enforcement and the public. A high school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Hardin, managed to crack the first cipher, known as the 408 cipher, just a week after it was published. The message was terrifying. The killer wrote about how much he enjoyed killing people, claiming it was more fun than hunting animals. He believed that his victims would become his slaves in the afterlife. The message ended with a promise that he wouldn't give away his identity. The Zodiac wasn't done. In late September 1969, he struck again. This time, he targeted another young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, who were having a picnic by Lake Berryessa in Napa County. A man approached them wearing a bizarre, hooded executioner's costume with the Zodiac cross-circle symbol stitched on the chest. He claimed to be an escaped convict who needed their car and money. But then, he tied them up and brutally stabbed them repeatedly. He then walked over to Brian's car and drew his symbol on the door, along with the dates of his previous attacks. He called the police again, reporting a double murder. Cecilia Shepard died from her injuries 2 days later. Brian Hartnell, despite being stabbed multiple times in the back, survived and provided a detailed account of the terrifying ordeal. Just 2 weeks after the Lake Berryessa attack, the Zodiac claimed his final confirmed victim, a San Francisco taxi driver named Paul Stine, picked up a passenger. A few blocks later, the passenger shot him in the head, took his wallet and keys, and tore a piece from his blood-soaked shirt. 3 teenagers witnessed the aftermath from a window across the street and called the police. When officers arrived, they mistakenly believed they were looking for a black suspect based on an initial dispatch error. Because of this, they actually stopped and spoke briefly with a white man seen leaving the area man who fit the description of the Zodiac before letting him go. It was a critical missed opportunity. Days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac. Inside was the piece of Paul Stine's bloody shirt, undeniable proof that he was the killer. In this letter, he mocked the police for their blunder and, for the first time, threatened to attack a school bus full of children. The city was in a panic. Police escorts were assigned to school buses, and a wave of fear washed over parents and children alike. The Zodiac's letters continued for years. They were filled with more ciphers, bizarre ramblings, and threats. He sent a Halloween card, a bomb diagram, and even a scorecard of his supposed victims, claiming a body count as high as 37. The most famous of his unsolved puzzles is the 340 cipher, which he sent in November 1969. For over 51 years, it remained a mystery, baffling amateur and professional cryptographers alike. It wasn't until December 2020 that a team of private citizens, an American software developer, a Belgian computer programmer, and an Australian mathematician, finally cracked it. The message was more of the killer's egotistical ranting, defying the police and claiming he wasn't afraid of being caught. Over the years, the investigation has focused on several key suspects, but no one has ever been definitively identified. The most famous suspect is Arthur Lee Allen, a former schoolteacher with a troubled past. Police had a lot of circumstantial evidence against him. He was in the vicinity of several of the attacks. He owned a Zodiac brand watch, and a friend claimed Allen had confessed his desire to hunt people and call himself Zodiac. A search of his home uncovered weapons and explosive materials. However, his fingerprints and handwriting didn't match the evidence from the letters, and a DNA sample from the envelopes didn't match him either. He died in 1992, taking any secrets he had to the grave. Other suspects have been proposed over the years, each with their own set of compelling yet ultimately inconclusive evidence. The case has been officially inactive for years, but the mystery continues to fascinate and haunt us. The Zodiac's reign of terror was relatively short, but his impact was immense. He wasn't just a killer. He was a media manipulator, a terrorist who used letters and puzzles to play a twisted game with the public and the police. The image of his hooded costume at Lake Berryessa, the chilling cross-circle symbol, and the cryptic ciphers have become ingrained in the fabric of American true crime history. He created a persona, a monster that was larger than life, and then he simply vanished, leaving behind a legacy of fear and a puzzle that to this day remains unsolved. Who was the Zodiac? Was he a brilliant madman who outsmarted everyone? Or was he just a lucky killer who made a few critical mistakes police couldn't capitalize on? We may never know for sure. The man is gone, but the mystery of the Zodiac Killer endures. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in true crime and unsolved mysteries, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into fascinating cases like this one. Let us know in the comments who you think the Zodiac might have been. Stay safe and see you next time.
In the quiet of the night, when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding
In the quiet of the night when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go.
every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below?
Only the shadows know.
In the quiet of the night, when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below?
Only the shadows